to myself, when we're talking about everything that's going on and doing things in a humane way, to me, that is the most humane way to do it, to me, in my eyes. And so, we have these politicians, especially here in California. It is ground zero, because what happens here in California happens throughout the United States, I think. And so when you have these politicians making this debate happen between, you're a bad person if you want illegals to leave the country. And so what happens is that, it just fans the flames of what's already happening. And so a lot of times I like to look at it as a divorced couple. You have, it just kind of simplifies it sometimes. You have the good parent and the bad parent. And you have the bad parent saying, you can do whatever you want. You could have what you want, eat what you want. Then you go to the good parent's house, and the good parents is like, no, we have rules and we have laws, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And so the child is mixed up. The child doesn't know, of course, the child's always going to want to go with the parent that lets them do whatever they want, however they want. And it's the same situation here. We have laws, we have rules, we have regulations, and they've been implemented for many, many, many years. And every government does, not just us. Mexico does not want illegals over there, too. The president said she doesn't want illegals over there. The people in Mexico are protesting about having illegals in their country. So every country is right now. I think a lot of countries are dealing with this migration issue, not just us. And for some reason, we are looked at as bad if you want rules and you want law and order. And it's not a bad thing, but for some reason, the media is painting it like it's a bad thing.
Well, when you no longer differentiate between legal and illegal, then what you are doing. And let's take the undocumented out of the picture for now. Someone is coming from any country on this planet, and they want to come here to become American citizens. There is a process that they have to go through, which takes years, and they're willing to sacrifice not only their time, their finances, taking classes. They do all of this stuff. And when you go down to a swearing-in ceremony for a new American citizen, I don't care if they're from Thailand, from Guatemala, from Peru, Russia, China, they are beaming because they are an American citizen. They were willing to pay that price. So you are really discounting everything, all of the sacrifices that millions of immigrants are making every day in order to come here and to be able to take that oath and say the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, those are the documents of our founding fathers because they have become American citizens. And so you are really doing a disservice to immigrants by doing that. And speaking of immigrants, I see we have someone calling in. It's right about that time. So let's go ahead. And is this Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hi,
Bishop, you're on the air live with Mary Ann, myself, Don Monroe, Benito Bernal. Welcome.
Oh, the whole gang is there.
Yep.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody's good.
Well, it's not a gang. It's an association. It's an affiliation. We're not even you can't say affiliated either. So, but it's a group of patriots. How about that?
It's a good group of people.
Yep.
Is that okay? Or is that politically correct nowadays?
There's no preferred pronouns in the room. Sorry. And we know which bathroom to use. So
you got to be careful. Everything you say nowadays could be a lawsuit.
That's right. And so, Bishop, I know a bit of your story, and I saw the letter that you presented to Robert F. Kennedy to give to President Trump, and it's. You talk a little bit about your own personal experience to really to qualify, not only your position as a clergy, but also as someone, the son of immigrants. You want to share a little bit with our audience about that letter?
Sure. I wrote this letter to RFK, Brother Kennedy, and he's going to present it to Mr. Trump. And because I'm very concerned about the narrative that is being spread around the Latino community. Univision called me on Monday, and they said that they're targeting Latinos, and only Latinos are being deported. And the narrative, every time you turn the TV on, you see the major networks just spewing a lot of hatred and animosity towards our president, and even the alligator Alcatraz today, and on all the different channels that I was watching. And so I'd like to speak to Mr. Trump about some possible solutions to this problem.
Well, I mean, you're coming from a perspective of somebody who has actually met with the president, prayed over him as well, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we met on separate occasions more than 17 times. So he knows who I am, and I've been with him in Mar-a-Lago. I've been with him in Washington. I've done the invocation at numerous events for him. So me coming to the White House, it won't be a surprise for him or for me. Mm-hmm. And trying to reach some type of consensus on this issue, because the narrative that's being spread around is very, very biased, and I see a lot of Latino families that are very scared and terrorized by what the media is throwing, and I'm very concerned.
Well, and I think the media is basically saying if you're brown, there's a chance you're going to be picked up, regardless of your legal status. And I think that's
correct.
That's very unfortunate, because it's very noticeable on the streets. I drove by the soccer fields, Whitsett and Van Owen in North Hollywood. There were 4 kids playing on a total of 7 soccer fields, where on a Saturday there would be 400 people there and their families, and just making a day of it. We know I saw over on Laurel Canyon in North Hollywood between Van Owen and Victory, where the sidewalk used to be lined with tents and barbecues and stoves and stuff, and now there's none. And so,
correct.
People are very fearful. Now, Bishop, I was talking to somebody today who has a number of friends that are here without documents, and he wanted to know my opinion. And I said, in the 4 years that Biden was president, he let in 21 million undocumented individuals from all different countries. I said, that is such a disservice to the undocumented who have been here for 20 and 30 years. And, he said, yeah, it's not right that people have been here for so long. The system basically either directly or indirectly said it's okay for you to be here. And even under President Trump's first administration, this wasn't taking place. And so he kind of agreed that it was the Biden administration of really, pumping the pump by bringing in 21 million people. I mean, I live in the San Fernando Valley. There's only 2 million people in the San Fernando Valley. So at 21 million in 4 years, that's 5 million people a year. So that's 2.5 times the San Fernando Valley residents coming in. There's only 4 million registered voters in the city of LA. So we're talking about another million on top of that coming in 1 year. The system just can't absorb it.
And to add insult to injury, we have all these veterans we're getting no services. While we had all these illegal aliens, undocumented people, staying at the Waldorf Astoria, getting thousands of dollars on credit cards and getting all kinds of services, while our residents in our cities were getting nothing. Schools were being turned into shelters, and children were not allowed to go to their local home schools in Chicago, New York, and we saw a tremendous influx of Venezuelans with Tren de Aragua who were causing so much havoc in our streets, and you had a rise in crime in so many different cities, and to top it off, we had all these Democrats who were declaring sanctuary cities for these criminals. Mm-hmm. So it's been a perfect storm for everything that has happened. And now that we have a president who wants to have law and order, the media is coming after him. And we have all these woke judges who refuse to obey the law. And they want to create the law. They want to be the executive branch, they want to be the judicial branch, and they want to be the legislative branch. So it's a perfect storm. And caught in the middle, you have a lot of Latinos who have been here for 20, 30 years. And, as I mentioned in that letter, when my parents came to this country, they overstayed their visitor's visa, and when they found out, they seek to adjust their status, and they got attorneys, paid attorneys to be able to be legal residents in this country. And so I hate to see people who have been here for 20, 30 years and have never seek to adjust their legal status. And some of these people say, well, I've been married for 30 years with an American citizen, and you couldn't do anything in 30 years? It's really sad, but it's also the fault of all these politicians that have given the false idea that if it's a sanctuary city, people are not going to be deported.
Yeah, yes. And I think that yes. rests, the responsibility rests with the elected officials, like I said, that have given individuals a false sense of security, and also like you don't need to assimilate. We now have our ballots in 17 languages. There's no need to learn English, and from the Spanish media, it seems like the only ethnicity that they talk about are Latinos, and when in fact you have Asians, you have from Africa, you have so many. It just seems like that's what they're focused on.
Yes.
And it's not fair to the Latino community that it's a hardworking Latinos, the working class, and if we deport all the people that are working in fields and the companies, we're going to have a serious problem with our economy, because prices will go up.
Yeah. But to that point, Bishop, what I keep hearing over and over. And to me, it sounds, it's borderline racist. It's like, who are we going to get to work our fields or clean our homes or do our gardening or bus tables, or as if that's all that Hispanics are good for? I mean, what about the lawyers and the doctors, or the computer techs, or all of the professional occupations that people have? I remember going back probably 10, 15 years ago, I attended a community forum at Leimert Park in South Los Angeles. And I was one of the panelists along with Bernard Parks, Terry what was Terry's last name? He was a radio show host, and we were talking about the number of black-owned businesses that were suffering, especially in the construction and in the trades,
Oh, yes.
because of illegal immigration. And so, what a lot of the African Americans had reached a level in a middle class because they became drywallers that were making $25 an hour, that they became electricians and framers and all of this, and all of a sudden you had individuals coming in that could do the work very well and were willing to do it for $12, $13 an hour. And they so many of the individuals from the black community started moving back to the South because no one wanted to listen to their cries for help here in Los Angeles.
But the politicians have a lot to do with this, because I remember I had a immigration forum at the last church where I was pastor, and we had Janice Hahn, and we had Karen Bass, who was in Congress, and we had some other congressional representatives that came to this immigration forum, and we talked about presenting a proposal, a bill through Congress, and because the Democrats were in power at that time, they had Obama was president, they had the Senate, and they had the Congress, and they refused to take any action on this matter. And the unions were against this plan because they felt that there's a lot of Latinos adjusted their status. It was not going to go well for the union. So it's a political grab, and now if we get all these people go back to Latin America, the Democrats will lose congressional seats, and they will lose the electoral college votes.
Yeah,
and that's what they're concerned about.
This is about bodies and numbers and head counts. Well, Bishop, before we close, because we're coming up on the break, I'm hearing a lot of references and comparisons to the Japanese, during World War II, when they were rounded up and put in internment camps, as if what is happening now is on the same level as then.
Right.
Because those Japanese were American citizens.
1 minute.
To compare what the Democrats did to the Japanese Americans to what's happening now with illegal immigrants is really a disservice to the unacceptable behavior that the way the Japanese Americans were treated in World War II.
And that's not true, because I visited a couple of detention centers this last week, and I spoke to different people using my credentials, both as a diplomat and also.
All right, Bishop, can you hang on? Can you hang on a few more minutes during the break? Okay, we'll be right back. This is the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club show with Mary Ann Bernal, David Hernandez, other people in the room taking notes and getting ready to go. So we'll be right back with Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez.